Calypso History Month is finished when I say it finished.
He came from Calcutta, a stick and a bag on his shoulder, Ito banana capra. So I am part seed of India. The Indians can ship on the slavery, bind together to rest in unity. I cannot stay. There was no more mother Africa, no more mother India, just mother Trinidad. My Mahuta planted sugar cane down in the Caroni plain. Ramlog and Bastel percussion with Georgie Pie. Brotherhood on the boat.
Georgie Pie. Brotherhood on the boat. Welcome to episode 201 of the Corey Shepherd podcast. 201. We into the 200s finally. Listen, I tell you, they surprise me with big fat and thing, salute. They say big them up on the tell me how to big them up on the show, right? So, big up to my mother, big up to my wife. Wait, I must rephrase. Big up to my wife, big up to my mother. I don't want no problems with nobody. But big Diwali home here, people at Lime and invite people over and so on, Big up to Father Gregory, to the Thompsons. To Granny Moy, everybody come over and I tell them, they say they're having a little Diwali lime and, but people having a Christmas theme Diwali lime. I don't understand it. Happy Diwali to everybody belatedly, but I had a Christmas theme Diwali lime. So I just line up some, I go talk about things in this episode, right? There are plenty to talk about. And I have an episode to make up for you from last week because the foreign exchange issue alone might take my whole episode, and I know people want me to talk about that, but it's complicated, but we can simplify it right here. We can simplify it right here in one episode, and then we go talk about the rest of the thing. That song like it could work. But before I get into that, I really just line up some tune to beg for curry, because I ain't get no curry for Diwali. I leave Shagonas and comment on, me know which part to buy curry sell for the people. They make ham and pastel. A full Christmas line. But in the midst of the Christmas line, they bring out cake and things to celebrate 200 episodes, something I appreciate. I am not good, right? I'm not good. at stopping and smelling the roses. I'll admit that. As a man, just get bored fast. When me pursuing nothing, I was like, all right, I have to do something. And I just get very, very caught up in the doing of things. When I have something to do, I doing it. So when I'm watching 200 episodes and I do that, when I finish, press that record button on that, and I done that done. I looking forward to episode 300. So thanks to all involved. My moms, my wife, my in-laws, everybody who was involved in making it happen. I appreciate it. You know what I mean? A little celebration. But as I say, Calypso History Month can't done till I pronounce it done.
Don't know the holidays for Trinidad and Tobago. I'm sure that plenty people don't know the 2 holidays for Trinidad and Tobago. We are all cosmopolitan. If a man asks a favor, you can't say wrong. It have some people try and get through. Well, I decide to do the same thing too. Yeah, what happened? The Hindus got a holiday for Diwali. Government for that already. The Muslim also get one for Eid, and Saifa glad they succeed. The Chinese already have each day. Well, hear what I have to say. I'm begging government to see what they can do. Well, if we give we for some April too.
Saifa. All you know is VJ Day. Ever hear about VJ Day? Ask your mother and your parents and them what is VJ Day. Victory over Japan Day, right? It's a long, long time. They might bring back that because I see a thing going around saying the amount of long weekends that we have next year. Next year will be a rough year. Well, a happy year depending on how you look at it, right? Long weekends tend to be cause a little strife in my life, but I see a long list of long weekends lined up. Trinidad is one of the nicest places in the world. If you could get US, you know what I mean? We're going to talk about why they have a US shortage. We're going to talk about what is going to lead to the end of the US shortage, or if we're going to have an end to it, and we're going to talk about some solutions we could implement in the meantime. But one man come out and give you a solution early. Great Randal Mitchell. Randal Mitchell say get out. Randal Mitchell say it's better you go somewhere else. You know what I mean? Mitchell tells citizens travel abroad to see how sweet it is in TNT. Hey, listen. Sometimes you just wonder like how ministers and things, like if they have a vetting process. If they have a vetting process for the things they say and the way they say, you know, another one who's me and I think this next one say is it this. I'm gonna tell fact. I need help in telling you what Randal Mitchell trying to say.
Now this one dedicated to all foreigner, all y'all the whole beginner this.
I need help.
Dedicated to our scout who want to fly out a candle at a rose. Okay. Anything me say, wanna say, I fly out.
All right, enough of that. It's Calypso History Month. Randal Mitchell tells citizens travel abroad to see how sweet it is in TNT. Bayaka Samaru from The Guardian. Speaking in the Senate yesterday, that was a long yesterday, right? Because it's right on a long time. Randal Mitchell said he took note of the opposition's attempt to peddle the narrative that citizens cannot afford the price of goods and services in this country. These politicians talk to the average citizen anyway. However, Mitchell told the upper house that it's only when citizens leave this country that they can appreciate how good they have it here. You have to talk to those people who travel outside of TNT, or you have to travel yourself to the Caribbean or to Canada or the US or UK. Travel and go and see in those countries what the high cost of living really looks like and feels like, Mitchell posited. He added, you know that they have, you know they say you have to feel it. It might sound like a Young Brother song. Akash, I feel like Samaru make up this, but Randal Mitchell really said that? He said, you know, when they say you had to feel it, it might sound like a Young Brother song, but you had to feel it. You had to make you feel it. When you go out there, you have, and you experience the high cost of fuel, the high cost of utilities, the high cost of transportation, the high cost of accommodation. That is when you know how good we have it here in Trinidad and Tobago. Mitchell lamented that those who come back often speak in hushed tones after that realization. But he said that when they do, they see it. They see how sweet TNT life really is, or how sweet TNT really is. The minister's comments came after, all right, so Coleman Burden was this country has the lowest inflation rate in the world. I talked about that the last time we recorded. And hey, all who I came and recorded that 200th episode and I play some Tobago. I say, well, people go appreciate that little break in all this seriousness and all this other talk and thing. People tell me, I listen, me here say nothing, me a DJ now, yeah. What is this? Sparrow say it, no, please yourself, because you can't please everybody. But a few things to talk about here, right? A few different issues when you're looking at Randal Mitchell's statement here. I wonder who he talking to. Are you talking to the people who never travel abroad? Because the people who never travel abroad or who don't have the wherewithal to travel abroad, or they might have more people in this country who never leave the country than the people who leave 2-3 times a year and that kind of thing, you know? I wonder if he's talking to them, because I'm wondering what difference he think that could possibly make. How does that statement help people who never travel or won't travel? Like, so you're talking to the grassroots. It's a hard thing to figure out. Like, when you're thinking through them thing, like it's almost like it has no filter. You just feel to say something and you say it. You say, well, if all you go away, all you see what. It's a moot point to somebody who not going nowhere. You had to deal with what you're dealing with on the ground here. When election time come, you don't come and tell me, go and vote for Trump and Kamala and them, You just tell me come and vote for all you. And always had the best amount of plan and spend hours and hours and done countless amount of red jersey and on platform to tell people about how them other people mash up the country and you could fix everything that's in the country and you could make this better and talk about all the wrong them do and you have all the answers. Just like what the opposition, the current opposition in this country saying now. You have all the answers about everything. But when you come inside now and pressure take you, it's travel abroad to see how sweet it is. The people complaining about not being able to afford the most basic goods and services coming off an article where they're saying the inflation rate is 0.4%. And I remember asking the question here. I was talking about Stacey and them putting together this little surprise, the deceitful bad in this house. The deceitful bad. I never had idea that surprise coming. But she just typically handle the groceries and them kind of thing. And when I hear her, who's generally should I say frugal or shrewd or boy, listen, I can't go in the grocery with her because when she go in the grocery, she had to watch the price of this, watch the price of that. See if, and I'm not good at that. And she always complaining that, hey, you don't watch the price of thing. You see how much you pay for this thing. And I just judge the whole bill. I'm a big picture kind of fella, right? So when I go in the grocery, and I don't make month-end groceries. I think grocery in the week. I go in the grocery for fig and bread and these kind of thing. I just deal with the big picture. So when I pick up about 10, 20 different things, I have a figure in my mind as to what them things should come up to us. All right, I have 200-300. So when the cashier tell me 5 something and I have to dip again, or they tell me 8 something or 1,000 and I have to pay with my card now. That is how I judge it. So I might be the best person to judge this. But she watching the price of specific items over time in the grocery. She buying this all the time. Let me give you an example, right? Very ties in very well to what we're talking about today. She likes to go and buy Swiss Miss in the you know the hot chocolate. She likes to go and buy Swiss Miss hot chocolate. It's a one that's coming in individual pack to make your cup of cocoa or whatsoever you call it, and there are one with like a bottle, a can, where you call that, and you could scoop out your spoon and make it, right? So is she in a conundrum? Because if you buy the can, the man in this house who just drinks Swiss Miss, when you buy the bottle of it, well, I know what it's called, that the container. That man making 3 heaping tablespoons of Swiss Miss. You put it in the poorhouse here, you know. he put in spoon after spoon after spoon. The cup barely has space for water, so it finishing fast. So at least with the single serve pack, you know. But again, a trade-off, which one more expensive? And she was telling me recently how much more expensive that is. So she now switched to, I want to say, Ovaltine. She decided she ain't fighting up with her Swiss Miss again. I missed her Swiss Miss. I Swiss Mister. So she going ahead with the Ovaltine now, right? And I say the 1% thing is why it's can't take with all and always trying to make accusations here. But as a man who training in the gym and them kind of thing, I went to a trainer at time and he tell me, you know, I had to get sproutless bread, Ezekiel bread. It was part of my diet plan and them kind of thing to lose some weight, right? And one loaf of bread, when I started doing that, I want to say it can't be more than a year or two ago, right? It's just when I come off of surgery and I had to start training and that kind of thing. When the first surgery. So let me say 2 years ago, and I went on a thing, I said, what, this Ezekiel bread is Mr. Ezekiel, because the loaf of bread was about $60-something, 60 plenty. But again, the results with the trainer, salute to my boy Dave Be Fit. And I following him and I again there. And I see that bread go up from 60-something to $80-something, and then it started to hit. And last week, I went in Massey. And when I bring the only thing I buy was the bread. So I know aggregate bill to study because the aggregate is always beat me. And when I pick up the Ezekiel bread, I pick up 200 thing. I buy something, I buy some nuts, so and the thing come up and they tell me for something. I say, all right, that's song about right. That bread alone is $80, right? But this time I just had to buy the bread. I just went in, pick up the bread, come back by the cashier, and that cashier tell me $115. That's 100 plus long time VAT, 100 plus VAT back in the day. I say, what? It's the first time the second time in life, or the first time in Trinidad I ever put back groceries. I said, no, thanks. It's all right. And I was done paying too much money for it already, right? Granted. But look at the change in price, almost 100% increase if you want to come 60 to 120 on average. Almost 100% increase in the price of one item. So when I saw the 0.4%, and find it look strange because that is not the truth about what baskets of goods they using to say that is only a 0.4% increase over a year. But when you're reporting less than single digit inflation, you're looking good as a country, So Randal Mitchell, reading people complaints, who complaining about the price of groceries, and think of who complaining about the price of groceries and what. Then you're talking about middle class and below. Anybody outside of middle class not complaining about the price of groceries anymore. They certainly ain't complaining on a public forum for it to reach Randal Mitchell and them kind of things. So I just find it like almost like a useless statement. All right, now talk to the people who traveling often, right? Talk to like the listeners of this podcast who always on extravagant vacations and going abroad to work and passing through malls and buying new. They don't have brand new items already, but they're buying brand new to put on the brand new. You know what I mean? It's a hell of a thing. So when you're talking to that group of people now, what is the use of that statement to that group of people to say, when I go abroad, you could see how sweet Trinidad is? Most of the people, including you, Randal Mitchell, who travel abroad, we do see things, did I say we? Y'all do see things that would remind you that Trinidad is a paradise. And it is, right? This we place. This belongs to us. We mustn't forget that, right? We mustn't forget that this is our home. And we must love it regardless of what it is. And we must contribute to making it a better place so that people who podcast in 100 years from now must only have glorious things to say about Trinidad and Tobago due to our contribution. But tell me something now. If you're listening to this and only travel and think, when you come back, you don't feel annoyed? Like a lot of times when I travel and I see different places, these days for me is seeing the same place over and over. I just come back here and get annoyed. One of the first things I get annoyed with is the state of the road. Like, and not so much the road you're driving on, it's be the pavement. Let me tell you something that's bothering me, and I'll get more warm now. When I go to Miami especially, and we walk and you go places and you see, and I know it's not a fair judgment, because when I go to Miami, I stay in downtown Miami. I'm not going to the rural areas and them things. But if I want to compare downtown Miami to downtown Port of Spain, one of the things that really bother me a lot is the pavement. I watching something today on going around the socials where an elderly man in Tobago step on a manhole cover. When you see the manhole cover, it look totally corroded. And the man foot going down in a rusty spot now, and people are trying to pong the man, ponging all the man foot there. I don't know if this man is not good aim. And I said, why didn't you just take off this old man's shoe? It would be easier to get your foot out if they take off the shoe. But the point is, the pavement for us as citizens of TNT is such a hazard. Not just the manhole covers, but high and low and not installed properly. Every single drain, not the drain, when people have a driveway and they make it lower so the cars could go in, every single one is at different height. And sometimes you step down on this height, you have to watch. I remember walking from Scotia Bank, Shogunas to go Unitrust, Shogunas. And I'm an old man, I still have a little, you know what I mean? I have 2 steps in me. But I wonder how old people's work, or the elderly, or somebody who in a wheelchair, how them is navigate the pavements and thing in this country. Sometimes they rest on a concrete manhole cover on top of the space. They put it cut a corner now, so it's not falling, sinking down in the space. So you could trip and fall on that. You could fall in a manhole. You step down, the step down high. The pavement rough. Even if you do fall, it's white man. And I say, yeah, white man. And when I again look at the walking through the pavement, I always watch like somebody take their time and make this pavement, the curve and nice. It can't damage. Even if you hit your foot on it, you can't get damaged. It's clean. I don't understand where I wonder sometimes like what it is. Do we gotta be a country full of billionaires like Dubai to just have a pavement that clean? We don't talk about the road and how bumpy the road is and them kind of things. So I see this statement and it is disheartening, especially coming from a minister of culture. One of your roles, I was just talking about the renaming of the Winifred Atwell Auditorium from Queen's Hall Auditorium, and how important it is for us to recognize the contributors to our society and make our spaces nice. As a minister of culture, one of the things you just focus on what it would be like for people to come here. I know how you reach in to start to talk to people about, you don't know how good all you have it until all you travel. That's partly true. Like I said, the first time I put back groceries on a shelf was in Jamaica. When you remember I just watch the basket of goods, right? So when I pull the basket, and I think I know don't play tennis, and I pull a basket and when the woman tell me the bill, I say, what? I say, what in here so expensive that it coming up? And it turned out to be some apples. I say, listen, put back the apples. I can't afford apples. I go eat something else because it's madness when you look at that price. I could do without it. Substitute products, right? We could talk plenty about that today. But I just found that this statement by Randal Mitchell it's disheartening to hear a minister of culture, and you know, sometimes I wonder like if did you assess the political risk when you make a statement like that. But the truth is also that when it comes to travel abroad, it's a little boy Randy Sudar sing, right? This song might have a lot to do with what we come to talk about today, because sometimes you have to travel too far to see how sweet Trinidad is. You know? Before you try and encourage people to travel right here, you go and travel. You encourage people to travel abroad. Travel abroad how? When Scotia Bank say you only have 2,000 US on your credit card and RBC, I always used to say, well, it ain't so bad, you know what I mean? I could still send a letter in the bank if I need 1,000 US. I would get. I asked for 1,000 US the other day. They say they send 300. So Randal Mitchell, maybe consider this song, right?
Once they had a competition for the most travel Calypsonian. Everyone was shocked to see the finalist was Baron me. Sparrow went Nigeria, then he went to Spain, he went to Ethiopia, then he went back again. He went to Cincinnati, then he went to Ohio. But I was the favorite, the crowd shout out. I went to San Fernando Palace, to Honorable Rossi Road, and Monroe to Rio Claro, to Gasparillo, El Cicolo, Mon Diablo, Togo, and Mayara brothers. I've been everywhere. is so incompetent. Say where you went, man, say where you went. I went to Calcuchina, Point Comana, Manzalena, Canapuna, Pagariga, Mapura, Nariva, Palataria, Suparia, Palantari, Man, Palmaria. I've been everywhere. Now every time I walk the land, the people hail traveling man. From Caranage to Icarcus, well they just call me Columbus. But look, I travel like Tarzan, I travel by mine. I travel almost everything you find. With two exceptions that I could explain, and that is minus boat and aeroplane. I travel down, I travel up like Chimbora's a photo taxi. Double bus, omnibus, minibus and maxi taxi. Trolley on one tricycle, donkey cart and motorcycle. I've been everywhere.
You could go all them thing and pay in TT.
I roam the mountains, I roam the hills, from the Dry River to Williamsville. Roam every hotel under the sun, from the Savannah to 101. Well, me a bragging, me a boasting, me a getting the head swell. There's two places I can go, that is heaven and hell. I travel till I'm tired, as you people here could see. So I like me to sing the chorus with me. I went to San Fernando, Honorable, Monriboto, Kimoto, Yatigolo, Coco and my Yara brothers. I've been everywhere.
The traveling man. All them thing real say. You could pay for in TT, you could spend TT when you reach there, and don't worry about nothing where foreign exchange is concerned. I want more classic for you, because I was wondering, but a minister of culture is supposed to be, you know what I mean? If you're trying to make the culture and tourism and them kind of thing into something, you're supposed to be trying to get people to come here. You're supposed to be telling people where to go. I do agree with him, however, that Trinidad is one of the sweetest places in the world. One of the nicest places we have in the world still. Yes.
Come, let me take you on a musical journey. The beach is soca and the country is T&T. It's better known as Trinidad and Tobago. Forget your heartaches and your troubles and there we go. Don't you think twice, don't you change your mind, because in Trinidad you're guaranteed a real good time. Who want to go can go, who want to stay can stay. In Trinidad I know we live a better way. We live together. hands in the sun. His love will all of me.
My Trinidad and Tobago, I'll never, never leave home. My Trinidad and Tobago, I'll never, never leave home.
T&T is known for its carnival, the greatest show on earth, the biggest bacchanal. Everybody does meet in the street, chipping down to the heat, to a soca beat. The whole nation together as one. No social barriers, just love, joy, and fun. Who want to rock and roll?
Who want to stay can stay. In Trinidad, I know we live our better way. Who together as one. And I say, head out, boy. All right, so everybody in our frenzy. If the thing get bad, we talk about this here many times, and it's getting from bad to worse, which we, I want to say predicted, but anybody could have seen this coming. So Scotia Bank had a release last week about credit card, foreign exchange limits on cards going down. So they say if you have a black card, which you could imagine how much you had to make to have a black card, your limit will be 5,000 US a month. It's reduced to 5,000 US a month. So I don't know what that was before. And if you have a red card or whatever the kind of card it have, what is the other kind of card Scotia offering? Everybody limits across the board. Scotia might have about 4 or 5 different types of cards. A platinum card, a gold card, a colorful card, and so on. All of them will be reduced to $2,000. And a way to appreciate this, right? It does not mean that all black card holders will get 5,000 US or all other card holders will have 2,000 US. It means that is a maximum. So if your colorful card, the limit is 10,000 TT, you not getting no 2,000 US to be able to spend on a monthly basis. You might get 500 US. Like my credit card up to the end of November, because it's taking effect on the 1st of December, right? My credit card US limit now with Scotia is about 1/3 of the total card limit. So I've 3 times as much TT as I could spend versus the US, and I run into problems pretty often. I saw journalist Asher Javed talking about being abroad and the card getting declined. Up to earlier this year when I was abroad, I was in Orlando and on one of these theme parks, and when I swiped the card, the man said I still have money for them. I was a little grateful though, because I just use one card until the US limit. I can't check that all the time, and the transaction still at a post, and I don't even know how much US I have remain on the card. I kind of estimating it as I go along. And when I went, let me say the thing had come up to $40-something. When I swipe it, he said, okay, it's still at 30-something for me. I said, right, well, switch to the next card now. Which one of the strategies that people using is to apply for multiple cards if you had to travel or if you had things to do abroad, right? Let me just talk personal now. We don't talk business yet. So what some people doing is rather than have one black card, they go apply for 2 or 3 black cards. So one black card, there's a going to limit for 100,000, you do 2 with 50,000, and you see if they will give 5,000 on each one. And same with the colorful card. If you have a credit card limit of 40,000, better you keep one. Tell them, listen, reduce that limit to 20,000 TT, because the TT is not the problem, right? Anything that you could pay for in TT, it has to be that you're buying it in Trinidad. TT not accepted nowhere else. You can't use your debit card for US anyway anymore, so it's better to take the credit card, reduce that limit to as close to the $2,000. Make sure you negotiate with the bank, tell them what the $2,000 limit. And apply for 2 cards. If you qualify for 40, you could get 2 cards 2020. Or get it from another bank, right? So I have one by RBC, I have one by Scotia, and that is how I'm managing the traveling and those types of things. In addition to that, one of the challenges that you're finding is getting the cash. Now, gratefully, when you go to the US, there are very little things that you need cash for, right? Some of them are very important, like ask me when you see me. But most times you could do most things with your cards. You do feel as though now more than ever, you feel a little naked if you ain't walk with cash because you don't know what go happen. Suppose I abroad and this credit card thing change and so you want to walk with a little cash in your pocket, especially if you're traveling with family. One man traveling by himself, you go figure out whatever it is, But when you're traveling with your family, you want to make sure you have enough to cover it. Now, for some time now, because of these limits, I have been spacing out transactions because it's a little stressful to get these things done. Where what I would do is if we had to take a trip, and I'll say that traveling, for me personally, traveling is the biggest challenge with this reduction in credit card limits on reduction of US credit card limits. And this is the first time I ever faced this in my lifetime. In the 80s back then it might not no credit card with no US amount to spend at all, coming to think about it. But so this is the first time for most of us, when we apply for credit cards the first time, if you have 6,700 TT is your limit, you had 1,000 US. It was just whatever you wanted to do. But the circumstances in Trinidad changed. I'm not sure if we comfortable discussing how the circumstances change, or if we're more comfortable just saying PNM is the worst and get Rowley out, and as if there's some solution to the problem. The solution to this problem should have been made in the 70s, if not before that. The solution to this problem should have been done early 2000. When I was in Lockjack, I went to Lockjack between 2004 and 2006. Lockjack Graduate School of Business, and all we were talking about was this same situation that we're in now. That if we didn't change what we were doing by 2020, we was going to be in for some very rough times. This is not new. This is not a surprise to anybody. And boy, listen, we so lucky. As the song say, nowhere nice like Trinidad. We might have a get out of jail free card that might come in 2027, 2028 if we're lucky with that Dragon Gas deal and other similar deals. But for the most part, we politic as much as we could have and kick the can down the road from 1970 all the way to today, and now we're here and we had to address it. But travel for me is one of the more challenging things. I'm sure it will be the same for you guys. So what I would do is I will book the flights in 1 month, make sure I'm good there. Then the next month I'll do the Airbnb. Then the next month I will request some US from the bank, because I understand from a little birdie, right? When you're requesting cash to spend, the bank's starting to look now at how much cash you spend on your credit, what was your credit card spend on US in that particular month. So when I requesting cash, when I requesting US dollars now, I'm making sure I have a month clean. I go in early in the month before I buy anything on Amazon or I pay for anything in US, and ask for US and hope for the best. These days again, 200-300, it's not great. I just send the letter and hope for the best kind of thing. Even now the banks, and it might have been the case for some time now, might be putting you on a wait list. So now when you go, you request it, and they tell you they will call you when it's ready. Today is the 4th of November. I'm recording this. By the 5th this out. I think I make a request, was it on the 15th of October. Me hear back from the bank yet. So the situation is not great, and that's on an individual or what we call a micro level, right? There's each individual or the fighter with this, or each household. And it leads to some level of discomfort. And the same can be said for all the different things that we pay for on a monthly basis online, like the subscriptions. Taking it that you're not running a racket, right? I know it's a very racket-full country, right? We like a lot of racket. But the $20 you're paying for Netflix or $30 or whatever it be, how much ever you're paying for Apple Music or storage space on your phone, how much ever you're paying for security camera, how about thing and all those things. You gotta watch everything that being charged to your card in US and kind of rationalize it. If you need 2,000 or more US a month to run your household, you have an issue. I'm gonna switch to business for a while. 2,000 US, this was personal cards, right? They didn't say this about business cards, but I'll tell you, business cards is not much different. You're having a lot of restrictions on how much you could spend on your business card on a monthly basis as well. Of course, they're not as publicized as less people in business. And one of the things I want to let you know too, right? Banking is about perception and confidence, right? That's what it's about. It's about putting your money there and you perceive that you have some physical access to your money whenever you need it. And you have the confidence that when that time comes and you walk up to ATM, you will get back your money. The first day you go to an ATM and you have 5,000 accounts and you go to take out 200 to go and buy some food and all these different food courts that have around the place, everybody taking cash, you go and you take out $200 to buy that. And the ATM say, nah, no cash. And then you go buy a next ATM and then you see several ATM. If that's sustained for a day or two, what causes a run on the banking system? Everybody is lose confidence because now they have the perception that the money is not there for them. And what happens is everybody will try, or many people will go to the bank and try to withdraw the money. There's no point in time which a bank could cover all the deposits that they have. They cannot give you back the cash, right? If they cannot give you back the cash, you would not want to be in the bank anyway. Because what the bankers do is take your money in cash and invest it in pretty secure instruments like bonds and treasury bills and nothing too risky. But it's tied up in assets. So the bank does not have the money to give everybody back the money at that point in time. Two things going into that. The central bank have a kind of mandate that says they must have a certain amount of money on hand in the bank at any given time. Again, that's to just maintain confidence so that they will work it out. Actuarial scientists will come in and say, well, X percentage of any one society will come for cash on any given day and you must carry that. And the bank will have an idea of what it carries based on its customer needs and all those types of things. That goes for all the currencies that they have, right? Including TT. They have a certain amount that they will have every single day. So the idea that the bank have a certain amount of US every day is not new. It really come into the fore now because the demand outweighing the supply. Let me go in the market now. The simplest place to understand this is in Tunapuna market or Central market or what market always going. Are you going to Shogunas market? I hear Shogunas market complaining. They say it's no air condition. We really reach where we're going in the market complaining. So we have air condition. We can't survive. But when in the simplest terms, if you I remember one of the first economic lessons I learned is in my house in Anderson Street in St. James. When my mother and my grandmother and them go on in the market and buying things and they complaining about its price of tomato. They used to say tomato scarce. That's one of the first economic lessons I ever learned. And I would ask them, well, what do you mean it's scarce? They say, well, tomato ain't thing. The amount of tomatoes didn't grow wherever farmers didn't get tomato. The crop didn't thing. It had flooding, whatever. And it's scarce. It was known then, and it's known by all of us. This is no economic thing that nobody can figure out or understand. It's simple. Tomato scarce basically mean that it don't have enough tomato to supply the amount of people who want tomato. Is a simple thing. And we all know almost by nature that the price is going to go up. Once the thing's scarce, the price will go up. Cartel was scarce. Cartel was scarce for the last how much ever years. Scarce like hell. You can't get to see Cartel. Look at the price of Cartel tickets for that show on the 31st of December. Between this US situation and Cartel lists all the price in US and them things to us, so you know. You know I can't go. No matter how I try to twist it, I can't afford to go and see Cartel. I would love to see him. I hope if they do a live stream, and well, that's the end of December too, I will be close to my US limit. But if they do a live stream and I still have a little US on my credit card, I'm paying for that and I'm keeping a lime home by me to watch Cartel. World boss, right? That's it. It's a tape. So when something scarce is normal, we know the idea that if something unavailable and people want it, the price will go up more. There will people actually bidding up the price of the item. But I feel like when you talk to people about the US situation, there seems to be a disconnect. Like we don't see the dollar as a commodity. Like how we see tomato as a commodity. And the dollar is a commodity just like tomato. The price of US or what will cause it to be the price to move is that same scarcity. Right now, US scarce. And that's why we know about this thing of an allocation on a daily among the US is because the amount that they could put out for the US dollar, the amount of US dollars that the bank physically have to sell anybody is low. And the bank had to settle the transactions you make in or we make in US, right? When you pay for things in US dollars, the bank had to settle them things in US with Visa or whatever financial arrangement that they have. And they only have a certain limit that they could use on a monthly basis. Add to that, who's the people complaining? Wholesalers, Price Smart, the franchise people, everybody complaining because now, hey, wait now. I had to get US to do business. We have a few subscriptions that we had to pay less on it. So I would say it's embarrassing because we have bills piling up on people, and we telling them, boy, we can't get US. We try any transaction, it getting declined. We had to tell them, all right, well, here what? On the first, early in the morning, let me do this before anything pulled from the card or any. And I guess the more people you're supplying, or the more customers or clients you have in Trinidad as a supplier who are abroad, you might know you have an issue by now. We probably at the point now where the international companies or people who dealing with Trinidadians know that we ain't just trying to scam them, outsmart them. It's hard to get. I remember the first time I was going to lecture in Guyana, and salute to Dr. O'Toole at the School of the Nations University in Georgetown. He was telling me that when he had to pay me in US, right? I cannot accept Guyanese dollars because I can spend that Guyanese dollars when I come here. He can't get TT over this. So US is a kind of global facilitator. Anywhere in the world that's accepted like Visa, right? So he had to pay me my US when I go over there. And I remember him talking about, boy, it's really, really very difficult to get US. So he was trying to figure out other ways. And I was like, listen, if you do a wire transfer, I could get it in TT or whatever it is. It don't matter to me. If you get cash US, that is good. But them days, I didn't. If I had thought this through all the way, I would be getting that US and holding on. But back then, I can't afford to hold on to that US. Nothing was rough. So I'm always converting that US to TT and not getting a chance to hold on or build up a US savings or reserve, right? But I always remember taking note of that. You know, when I don't know this man from nowhere, I had to jump on a plane to go and lecture in this school. I never hear about this school. And now you're telling me you ain't sure you're going to have my US. So me, I skeptical. No, it's like, boy, this man trying to set me up, or better I don't go there at all. But it turned out to be good. And I always remember when you get the US. Think of when you buy US over here. Your dollars, as people would say, they're crispy and nice. They're smelling good. You know what I mean? It wasn't the case when I get US from nations. The US and them all, the US dollars and them sweat ridden. You know what I mean? It passed through some hands. It passed through a lot of hands. Largely because they had the same issue there. A lot of their US purchases were on the black market. Look at Venezuela, several examples of that, where they had an exchange rate. They saying when you go in the bank, you're getting US at X. But nobody in selling the US for the amount to the bank, so the bank never have US and they had to buy US on the black market. So we pretty much already there. Because when I complain about this, somebody tell me, well, I have a partner selling US, he's work abroad and come back. He's selling it for $8 for one though. And we had 672 or 675 or 680 something or 90 something for US. So think of them tomato being scarce and the price going up. And then think of US dollars being scarce, but the price is not going up. The price is still $6 and some change, right? Now, why is US dollar scarce? Let me start there. Why are we in a situation where US dollar is scarce? There's another thing I think people not seeing clearly. How does a country get US dollars? It's like any other dollar they get, they have to earn that. The only money you could print and create more is your local dollar that your central bank controlling, right? I always remember a good partner of mine, my guy Nicholas Billowin, when we were in Fatima, in Form 4, Form 5, when we now studying economics. I believe we might do economics from earlier than that. But I had an econ lecturer by the name of Mr. Ramsing. Salute Mr. Ramsing. One of the best teachers I ever had. He was no small talk man and no sort of frou-frou. The man just used to come and teach and explain concepts, and that man make me love economics as a subject. And I remember talking to Billow at the time, and Billow done turn Rasta and seeing the world differently and have a level of enlightenment that I don't think I had at that point in time. And it's one of the most genuine questions I ever had. He was like bleeding for people, whatever the issues we was talking about, and he talking about poor people. And he said, Corey, you's a man like economics. You always coming first in Ramsing class and thing. If people poor, why you don't just print more money, boy? And I was like, well, my understanding of economics telling me that that is a horrible, you cannot do that. Not that is not done, but you can't just print more money and just give it out to more people, because think of money as a promissory note. It's just something that the purpose of money is for goods and services. Money on its own does not have much value unless you could convert it into something that's meaningful for human life, whether it's food or luxury items, whatever the thing is, the money must be going somewhere. Money of itself has no value. So, for instance, if the big earthquake shake, you remember Fred Sanford used to say, Elizabeth, there's a big one. If the big earthquake come and the world shake down and what we know as capitalism take a hit. And man don't want to accept paper money because it have no value. Like how you ever watch Denzel Washington and what is your name where he turned out to be blind in the end? And or Will Smith when he had a dog and then the alien by the dog turning an alien. Any movie you see about apocalypse or end of times will show you that it's not money again. You're going back to a system of barter, which is we exchanging goods and services for goods and services. The money as a medium of exchange failed because of whatever factor that happened. Let me say it's an earthquake, right? And the place shake down and think nobody don't want no money. Man want bread. At that point in time, if bread's scarce, you have to give up more goods to get bread, right? And if bread in abundance, nobody ain't giving you no set of thing for your bread, it will just go to somebody else. If you alone have flour to make bread in the whole of Trinidad and Tobago, I'm willing to give you a cow, 2 goats, whatever it takes if I need bread, right? And you'll give me a parcel of bread and we go on. But if bread, every corner you go by, man have bread. My bread given away. You know what I mean? Bread is scarce. He says, you just go back to your old household and you go learn all the economics. They say bread gain weight. Then I telling you here what's going on now. I have a cow there, I'll get 1 bottle of milk, I'll get that. You'll give me 6 bread. It's the same thing in barter. Whatever scarce, you got to give up more to get this scarce thing, right? So when you're putting money in between, it might be confusing people. This is the same thing. When you're putting money in between, the money is about the product that it's going towards. So if you just print and give people more and more and more money, and you still have the same amount of bread, people could just spend the more and more and more money for the same amount of bread, and it will just cause the price to rise. Or in economic terms, it will cause a severe inflationary problem, and it could collapse your economy because then the dollar will have no value, right? So think of it in terms of US dollars now. How a country gets in US? If we can't print it ourselves and we had to get it from somewhere, then I had to get somebody to pay me US for something. They could pay me US for the TT dollar. They could bring a US and say, well, give me 6 or 7 TT. So I could, but the US government, it would be a Trump or Kamala. By the time we listen to this, we're going to know who it is. Listen, I'm frightened for Yankees. No? But let me stay on topic here. If a man from the States have 100 US and he send 100 and you're sending back 700 TT, that is one way of earning US, but what is that man going to do with that 700 TT that TT cannot spend nowhere? Monopoly money, they call it, right? They say, oh, it's colorful, it's nice. Maybe you could sell some for people to frame up and put somewhere, you know what I mean? Look nice on our wall. It could make for nice decor. But it don't have no value unless you come in here. So the truth is, the only way we could get US dollars is if we earn US dollars by making some kind of product that we could sell to US people. You could sell US people TT dollars too, but Randal Mitchell, you had to get them to come to Trinidad because they cannot spend it nowhere else. Don't tell people from Trinidad, go there. Tell people from there to come here. If people from there come here, granted, they can take the US and spend it here, right? You could go, how they call the place? You could go by Richards when you go eating, you buy a bacon shack. You could go down on the avenue, you could buy doubles with that. You could go in the club, you could go by the bar and pay for that. But most times, people are going to convert the US into TT dollars so they have TT dollars to spend here because any traveler will understand that if you come here and try to spend US, first you're getting overcharged, right? You're getting overcharged for the product. The snow cone man, when you come by the lookout who's selling snow cone with Hennessy, he might charge you, if it's $20 for 20 TT for one of them Hennessy snow cone, he might charge you 5 US because he's a genius. So any traveler, no boy better I convert to the local currency and spend that. So when I see the stated price there, I pay the stated price and I'm not worried about getting robbed all the time. And I can't do this set of conversion and all them kind of thing. I can't do. We good at the conversion because we need US, so we always good at divided by 6. Trying to know no other times tables, but they know the 6.7 times tables to heart. So if you don't have something that you could sell to people abroad, or you don't have some reason to get people to come here, to bring their money and convert it, you will end up with a shortage. So how you get people to come to our country? It have about 100 different ways, right? There ecotourism, business tourism, sea, sun and sand tourism, carnival tourism, what they call the next thing now? Well, I went Cancun to fix a tooth that never fixed. What do you call that now? Medical tourism. They have a whole different slew of reasons where or ways to try to attract people to our country. That's why the tourism argument is such an important one. And that's why it's so disappointing where we end up with sandals. Sandals are a unique case because it does not necessarily get as much Forex in the country as they need to, because what tends to happen is that people go on these all-inclusive resorts and stay on the all-inclusive resorts, and they don't really come out and venture into the rest of the country and just spend money like that. But even when they have a need to change, and especially with global chains like a Sandals or Ryu and them, you could pay for your thing in USD, pay an Expedia, do your tours and all those things, and the locals still end up getting the local currency and not the foreign currency. But let me use Carnival as an example. You have people who pay in tribe for our product. We don't like big business, we despise big business, and we see big business people as predators, and we see them as price gouging and destroying the society and all them kind of thing. But it always comes back down to that for me, because when tribe put out their costume in August, and the whole thing sell out, right? The band sell out. Whatever percentage of those people were from abroad and do that via the website would be paying for those costumes in US dollars. 2,000 and 3,000 US at a time, the real tribe going these days, you know what I mean? Just now with 20 grand for a costume. But by the time you put backpack and front line, you're paying in US dollars, and that coming directly to a Trinidadian, a local business owner. So that's a product that you could sell where you earn US dollars. Also, it's a nice little product too, because it have a knock-on effect. When somebody paid 1,000 US to come for Carnival, when they pay the 1,000 US for a costume, they may well pay a couple hundred or thousand more US to go private Ryan, to go this fed, to go carry people, to go. They might pay for all them things. That's something now carry people could collect that money in US. That's the next business owner now bringing US into the country. Again, all things being equal, the economists say ceteris paribus, all things being equal, most people not going to take their US dollars and put it under their mattress. These days in Trinidad and Tobago, maybe put your US under a mattress, right? Because there was a time where when you had a US account, if you have 5,000 US in an account and you call them and tell them I'm coming for 1,500 tomorrow, a matter of fact, you ain't had to call them, because I remember telling in the beginning, they have a percentage that they keep in there right through. They know the percentage of people who are going to come in for that. So when you got 5,000 in the bank, you need 1,500, you just go, I came to withdraw 1,500 US. They say, hi, thank you, Mr. Smith. And you leave the bank. No, when you put in 5,000 in the bank, you had to make an appointment with them, talk to them nice, you know what I mean? You had to try and sweeten your way in to get your own US or the thing. So now you might be, we definitely in a world where people hoard in US, right? We will get back to that. So when you create a product that somebody who not in the country want, they will pay for that in US. US is a globally accepted standard. You set a price in US, foreigners will pay that, and then you have that, and the average person going to put that into the banking system, and now the banking system have more US. That's one of the ways our countries earn US, right? Carnival nice. Hotel and them things nice, because I say when you come here, you go pay for fare ticket, you go rent car, you go think. If you could get them all them things paid for in US, then you're even better as a business person down here, and we better as a country by extension. You know, as the top earner of foreign exchange in this country historically, from since the 70s, whether we in a slump, we in a bump, we in a recession, we in a depression, we in a boom, it don't matter what we in. The top earner of foreign exchange in this country is oil and gas, right? Energy sector, right? The energy sector is what making the money. Some other people good, the carnival and all them things good, the tourism, carnival will fall under tourism, all that good. Light manufacturing and food and beverage might be second to oil and gas in a lot of years. So all the associated brands they changing the captain now. After Lockjack stepping down and Nicholas Lockjack taking full control as chairman. Them fellas and them earning they earning a good bit of foreign exchange, right? A good bit. as their products are all up the islands and throughout the Caribbean and throughout North America and Central America and so on. Good products, right? So when you look at the things that we make that are exported that earn US dollars, you're looking at Associated Brands and all their products, SM Jalil and all their products, Sasha Cosmetics and all their products, Angostura and all their products, and Carib and all their products. Those might be our biggest global brands and our biggest things that are recognizable abroad that somebody taking US to pay for to get at by them because they want it. They have the demand for it. So them fellas and them in food and beverage and in light manufacturing would be doing a good bit to earn foreign exchange with their exports, right? But I want to read some statistics I pulled for you here, right? We had episodes like last week where we just play music and get kicks all day, and we had episodes like this with a whole damn lecture, right? So the quickest search you look for GDP. GDP is not always the best measure of the wealth of a country, but it's standardized and it's good and it's easily available and them kind of thing, right? So they say the oil and gas sector is a major part of Trinidad and Tobago's economy, accounting for a large part of the country's GDP, exports, and government revenue. So when they say GDP, what I mean is, just in case somebody don't know, is a gross domestic product, right? What you try to do is add up all the things that were made in the country or were made to sell in the country, add up the total of that, and it tells you a story about how wealthy the country is, right? We go cover that in our next lesson, right? Come back. Come back to class and we go talk boys, GDP and GNP and all them things, right? In 2022, the oil and gas sector accounted for 29.8. Let me call that 30% now. 30% of Trinidad and Tobago's GDP. The energy sector as a whole accounted for about 45% of the country's GDP. So in other words, the wealth that the country has, or the earning potential or the earning power of the country, will be cut in half, basically, if we do not have an oil and gas sector. That oil and gas sector accounting for 45% of our total GDP. Right? Now, again, remember that GDP is everything they make. So no matter what sector it's in, if you break it up sector by sector, we still have 55% of things that we could depend on. I just want you to appreciate that. Knock on wood, right? Knock on something. As an individual, let me go back to micro for a while, right? As an individual or a family, can you imagine your income being slashed by 45%? If your income slashed by 45%, you have a serious amount of changes to make in the way your household running now, right? Let me not dwell on that for too long, right? I don't like to put these kind of thing into the air, right? Exports. In 2022, the oil and gas sector accounted for 81% of Trinidad and Tobago's export earnings. 81. Ores and mineral fuels account for over 70% of the country's export. Let me focus on that 80% figure, right? When you're looking at 80% of your revenue, so in other words, 80% of what can earn US dollars. So when I tell you hotel and taxi and carnival costume and frosted flakes and chubby and buttercup, what do they call the thing now? Buttercup, whatever the makeup thing that sachets make. And I tell you how much bitters we see, all the bitter. Anywhere you go in a bar, anywhere in the world, any hotel, any all-inclusive resort, have bitters. Might be our most global product. All that combined is only 19% of what we earn in US. So you see, if put on a bar chart for me now, so you can see how big the difference is. The 81% coming from oil and gas, and the 19 is bitters, carnival, tribe. All them is at a hotel we are down here, man. Everything else adding up to 19%. So what's the moral of the story? When they were talking about in the late 80s having a recession, and I believe somewhere around 2008, a little bit unrelated, but in the late 80s certainly, when the oil price fall and the thing started to bottom out, I think at one time $9 a barrel from something like 30-something, $40-something a barrel that we were enjoying before. Imagine what happens to us at that point in time when so much of our foreign exchange earning potential, 80% of it to be exact, 81, comes from this one group of products. When the price of that group of products falls, We have a problem. Your total amount of US that will come into the country will fall. This thing that we have here, which was predicted, the price of oil and gas is very, very, very difficult to predict. People go tell you they could predict it, right? There are people who's watching moon and they watch it thing, and when this growing, oil and gas go thing because the moon reflect off thing and da. People go tell you all that because there are people who doing this for a living, who predicting the price of this so that them can make money, right? Them trying to see what it's selling for now and what it will sell for tomorrow and get into all kind of future contracts that could make them money, right? One is, you see, predicting markets is come down to two things. It's called technical and fundamental analysis. Both of them historically wrong like hell. Go and let them finance people tell you. They'll go tell you they know and the da. It is extremely difficult to predict the price of oil and gas. Or I want to go as far to say nearly impossible to predict the price of any commodity. Worse again, to predict it in the long run. You might be able to predict what comes in at the end of the year here. So when we doing our budget, one of the first things that call members or whoever is the finance minister will do is tell you what is the price of gas, or oil. And back in the day, it used to be oil, right? Now it's more gas, right? They will tell you what is the price of oil that they're basing. So they're basing this budget on a $30 a barrel of oil price. We have done a good job as governments, all the governments we've had, NAR, UNC, PNM, all of them have done a relatively good job of being conservative about our oil price, right? Or the gas price today. Where if the world trading at $45 a barrel and the experts say by the end of the year it should be about 48, we go set a price about 42, right? We go set a price about 40. Because we don't want to overconsume. We don't want to eat out with little money and then we set a big budget and now the oil price dropped to 20 and we can't recover, right? So what they will tell you in the beginning, we're basing this on a $30 a barrel oil thing, and this is what you could do in the hospital. You go buy new uniforms to the police, you go fix the pavements and them kind of thing. We could do all the things we could do in this year with the money we earning. Remember that most of the money we earning coming from oil and gas. So when something happens in oil and gas, we have a problem. We may not be able to do the things we wanted to do in the budget, and the budget is for 1 year. So think about the long-term planning now. The long-term planning now is a mess when the oil price fluctuates and you can't predict it. Don't let nobody tell you different. What you can predict fairly easily, very easily, right? Very easily. Much easier. Let me put it like that, right? Before the experts come from it. It is much more easy to predict how much oil and gas you're going to have, right? Which is production. You must be able, you have a better shot at predicting where you have any ground ways to come or train coming next. You could predict that. We did predict that. The experts have predicted that since in the early 2000s, maybe even late 90s. The prediction was that we have enough oil and gas to continue our current standard of living up to about 2020. Somewhere around 2020, we're not going to be able to produce enough oil and gas to sustain the standard of living that we have now. The 19% who selling bitters and all them other things, them fellas growing too, but it's still remaining 20%. So to sustain the standard of life we have in the country that we like and all these different kind of things, we had to do something about this 81% that's going to start to fall off because we do not have no more to sell. It don't matter what the price is now. You can't predict that, but now we don't have no more to sell. They've been saying this for the last 20-something years. The fact that the man make a vision saying 2020 vision was a direct response to the fact that somewhere around 2020, we're not going to have nothing to sell. And we're not going to have nothing to sell that earns us no more foreign exchange. So when you hear that term 2020, the year 2020 didn't come out of the sky. It wasn't random. The year 2020 was the 2020 vision was to address the fact that we are going to have an energy sector shortfall. And now the biggest part of your earning, I want you to think about all your salary, right? Everybody now had to work, right? Everybody have a little side hustle and a thing. I want you to think if you have a business, I want you to think about the biggest client. Let me knock on wood again. 80% of your revenue. Who was responsible for 80% of your revenues? I didn't even want to tell you it disappear. It just started to look shaky. It just started to look shaky. I want you to tell me what that night's rest is like for you then. But again, good governance over the years, all of them. Now, I want to single out no government because even that 2020 vision was a whole series of technocrats who was working on that, who was on all sides of the political divide. And the point of it was to see what the hell we could do to replace this level of production or this 80% foreign exchange earner, the biggest export that we have. I want to say, boy, when you look at it, it is dwarfed so much sometimes because 80% is where it was in 2022. Sometimes it accounts for even more in some years, right? So the real only foreign exchange earner that we have going away from the standpoint of production. Hey, only bored yet? What time are you on? Is this boring? Sometimes I feel like we shouldn't be talking. I feel like it's be so heavy. But we're here, right? We're done in it already. So when you had to try to replace that, you had to have some ideas now, because what are we going to create that the rest of the world want? Steel pan was a discussion. If bitters in the 19% steel pan, what it is 0.002% must be what and salute to Mitko. I'm not saying these things to diminish any of the work that going into what you call. So when you hear people say diversify the economy, diversification just means spread your risk. So diversifying the economy means if you're running an economy or you're running something where 80% of your income coming from one place and then 20% coming from 20, you'll feel more comfortable if with that same income, let me say making $10,000 a month, but $8,000 coming from one client and the next two coming from 100 different clients, you'll feel more comfortable if you're getting that same 10,000 and you have 200 clients who contributing to that. Because even if you lose one, you lose two, you will still be close. But if you lose that 8,000, some people got to eat less when month end come, right? You know what I mean? So that's the position we were in, and that's why the 2020 vision document was worked on by all kind of people, the best and brightest in the country. And well, we know what happened with that, right? All kinds of things happened and we didn't really get to where we are. So we in the midst now, 2024, we in the midst now of the time where the production in the energy sector is low. And we have some major issues. Because now, let me just use the extreme example. We're not there yet, right? But imagine that 80% had disappeared. And now all the US coming into the country is based on that 9%. You can understand where now, using that 10,000 example, instead of bringing in 10,000 US a month, or let me use billion, right? Instead of bringing in 10 billion US a month, now you're bringing in 2 billion. So the idea of US rationing, it comes down to the same thing my grandmother and them will say, US scarce. It's scarce. And until we do something that earns more US, it could be scarce. The something that go earn more US is that dragon deal we doing where we make a little thing and we say, but yeah, what is this? We don't know more oil and gas, something like we borrow your gas, like we bring that into our thing and then GC go use that and then all of us use that and then the foreign multinational companies might stay here. But once that comes and the prediction for that is somewhere around 2026, 27 kind of time, in 28 maybe. So we have about 4 more years of this to go through until the gray, what is called it, the gray line behind the silver cloud. Me know what it's called it now, but before we could go back to some kind of happy days where this is now a non-issue. Because the 80% at least replace, if not grow, right? The prediction is that we should grow overall. But I just want you to appreciate something. I ain't getting into this now, right? When we listen to episode about 600, I hope we ain't talking about this, but one of the risks we have is if we actually grow it and we get more in oil and gas, and let's assume that percentage get even more skewed and it's 95% oil and gas, and then we get a real nice Dubai level standard of living. I just want you to appreciate that we still in a very risky state. And if we don't diversify, and that's the case, anything happen in oil and gas, whether it's the price or the supply or whatever it is happening, we go have a problem that we have to just kick the can further down the road, right? I also want you to appreciate that when 2024 come, and sorry, when 2026, 27 come, if it was to come, knock on wood again, right? Because this could be bad, right? And what we expect to come through then, for whatever reason, be it force majeure, you know what I mean? They say the works of the Lord, be it we rollers and them ain't getting along with this one, or a new party come in power and them not no do the thing, or Trump come and say, I don't want no part of that, like the dragon deal, can't stop to that. We don't like Venezuela, we want Maduro out. Or Kamala say the same thing. Did I just say Kamala like that? Kamala, you know what I mean? If that was to happen, all the multinational companies who are operating here now, BP and BG and Shell and who else it are, they will all be gone, right? They will all be gone. I talk about exploration, instrumentation, refination, whatever it is they're doing, they are going to shut down and they are going to leave. This is not the first time Trinidad and Tobago has been through this, right? Ask your parents, they could tell you about that before, right? So that we trust that is not going to happen, right, man? Again, good governance over the years, all parties, men make good deals. One more thing I want to get to before I go forward with this, right? One of the things that has happened here, which is, and none of the governments in terms of parties in power has changed it, is where when we budget for the thing at $30 and the oil actually average out $40 for the year, we take that $10 and we put a percentage in a stabilization fund and we put a percentage in a heritage fund to ensure that we can manage these. We could kind of stabilize our otherwise unstable thing because we're not in control of the oil price. I just want to give the governments collectively a round of applause for that, because that saving we know, right? And it's been saving us because we save enough money over the years on our conservative estimates. And we didn't just spend it on more things, right? And we have more things to spend it on because manhole cover want fixing, right? Hospital want bed. But we take a portion of that money and we put it in things to say that, listen, this stabilization thing is to manage the fluctuation in oil price to make sure that we have what we need to do and so on. And this heritage fund, that is to look at the long-term well-being of the country and to invest in innovative ideas or whatsoever it might be, right? So that is where we are. So the amount of US that come in is one major factor. And the truth is that not fixing between now and 2027. You see all them people, the Facebook commenters and things who going wild and so on. I mean, that not fixing. You know how long it take? I see they say they're building a Hyatt in Tobago, I believe they said. And another Hyatt in South. And that go earn a little foreign exchange. Most of that we only keeping a percentage of that because Hyatt is not a local brand, right? But that could take long to build. That taking a year to build before it thing, and then a year two before. Listen, you ain't seeing that money today. Or any big innovative thing that we do that all of a sudden Yankees in demand for. That ain't happening now. And we only have 2 or 3 carnival again. As a matter of fact, 2 don't come this one done. We have 2 carnival again before 2027 to say we attracting this big amount of tourists and they go come in and they go spend loud US and I don't know. I'm thinking fixing just so. So what else we could do to fix it? What else we could do to fix it? What is going to happen? What's going to happen? We just going to suffer between now and then. And you know the going back to my grandmother and that thing was scarce. If the first lesson in today's lesson is that when things scarce, the price does go up. How come US scarce and the price remaining the same? It's because of the policy we have for US dollars. So a country could have 3 different policy when it comes to how they manage foreign exchange, right? They could have what you call a fixed exchange rate policy or a floating exchange rate policy or a managed float, right? So the fixed mean I say it's 2-to-1, so it's 2-to-1. Nobody can tell me nothing else. If you want to sell US dollars by law in this country, you sell it for $2. If you sell it for any other price, you make a jail, you understand? Like black market. I could do that. I could also say, on the floating exchange rate side, I could say that the price of US dollars will be determined by the availability of US dollars. And we done cover in the first lesson that the availability of US dollars is only due to what you could export, right? So put it this way, let me skip the US dollar. The price of US dollars will be based on the demand for local products and services by people abroad. If people abroad demand a lot of TT dollars because They buying costume, they buying thing, they buying oil and gas, they're sending their money down here in US, and we could, if that is the case, then the US dollar could be cheap. But if you're not selling these people nothing and you're doing nothing to earn foreign exchange, then the US dollar could be expensive. So we have the US dollar now set at, and we have what they call a managed float, right? Where they typically set a lower limit and an upper limit. So they have a lower limit, they say it can't go below 6. I don't care what is the lower limit in this country. It will never go nowhere close to the lower limit again. We ain't seeing that in this life again. So the upper limit is the question. There might be an upper limit now that is somewhere around. Nobody don't want to touch $7 because $7 is lost election. $7 is a lost election amount, right? Because I sure some only remember when it was $2. Right? Some of you, if you're properly old, if you remember $2. But most of us, I remember $5. Right? And most of us will remember like $6.25. $6.25 was a standard thing, and we're going all the way to $6.70 something, $6.80 something, $6.90 something, and people don't really fuss so much in them little 10 cents and 20 cents. But boy, when they hit $7, mass in the streets, you know what I mean? Every union coming out is iron beating and Negro spiritual singing and so on, and people want Rowley out. Whoever passed that $7 figure in for a ride. I want to see. I really want to see if they do it. Now, I want to tell you that they have an article by covering Mariano Brong here once up. But boy, Mariano Brong is a man. When he started talking, really, it is a lot to say, but he making a lot of sense on the issue. And he's been making a lot of sense on the issue, to be fair. He's been talking about this issue for a long, long time. It's one of his, what do you want to say, pet peeves or something like that. But he's been talking about this for a long time. So one of the options that we have as a country is if we want to maintain this idea that US should be $6, and you know the thing about it again, that there's no classroom thing now, you know, because you yourself fully know what that demand and supply for US looks like. You know somebody now who's selling US for $7.50 and $8, and you know people who coming in for Carnival and they have the 1,000 US, they put it up on Instagram, they say I have 1,000 to sell, are taking 9. So the black market has no regulator, you know. The black market, but the nice thing about the black market is the closest you will come to a perfect economy where the buyer will pay exactly what it should be for the product, and the seller will sell it and they'll be happy, because nobody ain't coming Trinidad now and happily selling US for $6.70. They know it have more value than that because the demand for US high, US scarce, so they go pay more. So one of the things we could do is control our demand for US dollars. So if what we pay for US could be based on, or if our availability of US is based on what products and services we could sell abroad or export and earn money from it, right? What do you think is going to control that demand for US dollars? The demand for US dollars is not because we find the money pretty. Demand for US dollars is because we want goods and services that can only be paid for in US dollars. We want Yankee goods and services. We want things from foreign. We don't like things here. We don't like things from here. And I feel like if this could be more than the oil and gas, which it's so hard to control, it's so hard to predict. We have a little silver lining coming that we hoping it come. And if it don't come, we in problems, right? Yes, it's grass. If it don't come, we have serious adjustments to make, right? So one of the options we have now, and you're starting to see it slowly but surely, right? We have a preference for foreign goods and services. We have a penchant. We want not penchant like we're drinking, or penchant. You know what I mean? We want goods and services from abroad. We do not watch local TV. Maybe I should be talking about myself. We don't consume local TV and local entertainment like that. We're done with that. We do Gael. Look at that good program they have in our morning, and we don't consume it. We're more interested in cable television and Netflix television and Hulu and what the next one name again? Amazon Prime and Apple Plus and what again it have? Peacock. We don't watch local football. Salute to Dwight here. I hope I still have time to talk about Dwight York at some point in this episode. Probably not. This episode, a whole foreign exchange episode, I've done on nearly an hour and a half. We don't watch local football. We want to watch Tottenham and Chelsea and Barcelona and Real Madrid and Barcelona. Supposed to Barcelona beat Real Madrid 4-1. We don't want that. We don't want that. We don't want no part of it, right? We don't want no fresh fish from we good fresh fish catching every day in Blanchisseuse, fresh fish in Guaya, fresh fish up in Las Cuevas. We want sushi. We want thing wrap with rice and wrap up on it. We don't want that. You understand? Big Diwali here. Big Diwali here. Look how much roti and thing it are selling. People ain't want that. They want pickled hams. Pickled hams, you know what I mean? People want fanciness here. We don't want to drink sorrel. We want rum and Coca-Cola. And we don't want a local rum neither, you know. We're looking for Zacapa, you know what I mean? We're looking for the best of the best. We don't want no, you know, no local rum. We don't want no White Oak and all this other cheap rum that's beneath me. I'm looking for Johnny Walker Blue, Johnny Walker Gold, you know what I mean? When I open my cabinet, if all I have is puncheon, White Oak, single barrel, black, a shame. When I open my thing, I want to see double dog, you know what I mean? Big ones too, you know. A Maggie, a double dog is what I want to see my thing. We don't want to go on the drag and buy no leather slippers. We want leather made by Balenciaga and Alexander McQueen and Prada and Gucci and Ferragamo. We want fine leathers. We want fine things. I want you to take a look for me now, right? Because I don't want to make it about the people who buy the fancy things alone, right? I want you to look wherever he is now at all the clothes you have on. Check every item of clothes you have on for me now and tell me how much it make here. None! Not a piece of clothes you have on is made in this country. None of it. We have a taste for foreign goods and services. That's what we want. So we have a high demand for US dollars and US scarce. So what do you think supposed to happen to the price of US? One of the pressures on the government now is somebody had to come out and say, we cannot keep this price at $6.70 something. Let me explain something here, right? When you maintain a US dollar exchange rate that is below the natural price of US, which is based on demand and supply, right? Which is based on the fact that Trini like foreign things and foreign people don't like Trini things. That's where it comes down to. When you make that price and you hold that price at $6 and some change, you are subsidizing the lifestyles of the rich and famous. Don't tell them I say so, you know. You are subsidizing the lifestyles of people who could fly on a local airline and go to Jamaica, but they want to pass through Miami to go in Brickell City Center and buy Apple products and so on. You are subsidizing the lives of the rich and famous because the people who jump in on a plane every minute and go and stay in an all-inclusive hotel abroad and buy designer products and down to the suitcase, they wouldn't get a grip making in tongue. They ain't making no grip no more. They buying Samsonite and Louis Vuitton and Gucci bag. Down to the bag they carry anything and it's imported. Down to the socks, biggie small say. When they are allowed to pay $7 to get a US dollar, when they should in fact be paying $20 to get a US dollar, that $14 shortfall has to be covered somehow or some way. You see that $14 shortfall now? The taxpayer paying that $14 shortfall. Because the knock-on effect is that you will end up in a situation where you are short, pressure on the price, and now you cannot get US dollars to buy. When you cannot, as a business, forget people now, when I cannot get US to buy, and I cannot buy things to bring into the country, now the goods that I was bringing in to sell in my place get scarce. Who you think paying that extra price for the product? So when you see price pressure in the grocery, and you're going in the grocery, and an item that was $60 today is $70 next month, and especially our imported item, the issue is that the subsidization of the lifestyles of the rich and famous is causing you to pay $10 more for bread. And now I had to go and eat I say I'm gonna buy Miss M's. I don't want to say nothing bad about Miss M's. I like Miss M's bread, right? I don't know if other people know Miss M's. I try to talk about it in class, and like people don't know the brand. They make cassava bread and sweet potato bread and thing. And for some reason, my perception is that cassava, it must be healthier. You know what I mean? Cassava flour must be healthier. And I find like on my little weight loss journey, salute to my boy Chana, my trainer, and prayers for Chana too, right? Listen, remember how I asked for goodwill and prayers for somebody the other day? I want to send all your goodwill and prayers and good wishes and things for my trainer, Chana, right now, going through a difficult time, right? But when I losing a little weight as I started training with Chana and I eating my Ezekiel bread and thing, my pocket losing weight, but losing weight from the belly too. I say, you know what? I ain't buying that at 100 and something. I go down and buy Miss M's. Miss M's ain't cheaper, but it's good. It tastes good and thing. Boy, you know, when I check the Miss M's bread, it's about 200 calories a slice of bread. So when I eat a sandwich, it's more than a plate of food with the calories I eat. And I ain't lose a pound for the last 2 weeks eating this damn Miss M's bread. But you get where I'm coming from. That price of goods and services locally here will be affected. It is going to continue to. There's going to be upward pressure on the price for as long as that exchange rate stay where it is. Now, who gonna touch that exchange rate come down to belly? Because whether it be PNM or UNC or Gary or Philip, whenever you interfere with that, you're losing the next election. Because listen, the opposition who fully well know that somebody had to do it, they go waste you down. They go make sure they look like they, because we go feel it, eh? We will feel it. Forget me who like to buy things on Amazon all the time, and forget you who like to jump on a plane all the time and buy this and that, and like who like nice. I mean, and then we just to add another issue to this. We don't make enough thing here, right? Because I'm knocking your body clothes and things, but we don't really make car. We don't make enough a series of things that we have to import. So when you look at all the people who have to go and continue to buy and pay for these things, right? Forget them for a minute. Who they don't like Sunshine Snacks cornflakes. They say that melting in the milk. They were Tony the Tiger. They were, you know what I mean? They were foreign. We like foreign goods and services bad in this country. But forget them for a minute. Think about the person who child in university abroad and then year one. And it's 50,000 US a year that they have to pay tuition. And 50,000 US, let me do simple maths, right? Let me say 6-1 for US now. Which means this year I spent 300,000 paying for this boy to go to school in whatever tech. Whatever they go, Georgia Tech, right? He doing good. And then next year, somebody float the dollar. And the dollar land at 20-1. Because it go be higher. We like goods and services from where it go be high. Again, 15-20 is where it go land, right? Let me assume it land at 20. Do some quick maths for man, multiply 20 by, because it's the same 50,000 you have to pay this unaffected. Georgia Tech don't want to hear your woes, you know. They don't want to hear no litany of woes and no sort of small talk. 1st of January, 50, or the 1st of September is 50 grand. And now, instead of paying 300,000 for that 50 grand, you have to go and spend $1 million. Don't laugh. It's funny. Don't laugh. It's a rough life. It's a rough life. So this is the thing. Everybody kicking the can further and further down the road. So they go kick the can till we kick the bucket, because it's one out of the two things. The pressure starting to build up. Because I tell you, one of the best lines I see in Narcos was the man saying, the external pressure is bad, but it's the internal pressure is getting. You see, when you're in politics and it's trying to get pressure from inside, I want you to think about what sector of society is the ones that have children studying abroad. It's not the poorest people in the country, right? It's a certain portion of the middle class who's sacrificing and putting pennies together to send their child abroad, right? Them mortgaging house and borrowing money and them kind of thing to send their child abroad. That is going to be a huge hit to the middle class when that happens. And I ain't started talking about Tony the Tiger and them things yet. I just talking about the things that you have to do because your child abroad. You understand? That is an issue. Think about the other people who have the children studying abroad. Who you like to call on this podcast the 1%, right? You have this 1% that you have. That's that abroad and that here and the children abroad, the children studying all over. And you know, the children is take gap year, they just go Greece. They just go Greece on their Instagram body for a year, you know what I mean? It's a different lifestyle they live in. Think about what affords them that lifestyle. If they are the owners of those same businesses that export anything, it's them who earning the US. So when I have this set of US now, that because of the last maybe 20 years, I hoarding not hoarding, but I'm not converting my US into TT, right? Because I expect the value of US to go up. Imagine what happened when I have $100 home that was just worth 600, and now when you change the exchange rate from 6, or it goes from 6 to 20, now that $100 bill is worth 2,000. So when the middle class take that huge hit, right, and then the wealthiest classes actually end up better off now because their US worth much, much more. When you start to see, and you talk about Jamaica with a big gap and a big divide between the rich and the poor, think about or no middle class or disappearing middle class is something that you could see why it would happen, right? You could see how he has end up there without a middle class, or with the middle class taking such a big hit, because now some people will have to not go to school at all, which affects the future of your lineage, your generations, right? Some people go buy the bullet and mortgage their house, which again affects the future lineage, where you could have hand down and you could have give us, you know, and leave when you're gone, and all those things that affect it. But one thing I want to talk about here is that appetite for foreign goods and services. Again, plenty things we don't make here, so we always going to be a net importer. Most of the things in this country, we're not an industrial nation, so anything to do with industry, machinery, anything to do with civil engineering, to build, all them things, most of the inputs for those things going to have to come into the country. Same thing with car. You want motor car, you have to bring that. I don't know if we in a state to say, well, motor car, we could just start a build car and thing. I ain't so if I trust no car or building Cedrus, no? I ain't so sure I'm driving that. So we in a situation where we're going to continue to import. And one of the things we could do is shift from this set of US goods and services and make better deals with countries like China and so on. And I'm seeing that happening already, because it's at a point in time where, yeah, like the man say VJ Day victory over China victory over Japan Day, right? But when you look around at cars in the country, you would see mostly Japanese cars and mostly European cars. Now you start to see more and more Korean cars, and these days you're seeing more and more Chinese cars. Some partners in our group chat was telling me the other day that the BYD is a real solid vehicle, and I didn't realize it was China. Well, I assume Chinese made, wrongfully so, right? Yeah, Chinese is cheap. It's not the case. It probably wasn't the case, but it's not the case anymore for sure. And they competing by seeing more and more like Chinese made vehicles. I want a Wingle. You could go and get a Wingle. You know, there's more Chinese brands coming into the country. So if there's a favorable sort of agreement between Trinidad and China in terms of either exchanging goods and services for goods and services, so we don't have to convert currency, is an option. There's also the option of currency substitution. People say you should just adopt the US dollar and move on with your life. Forget having a Trinidadian dollar. It's been done before, but it is tricky to do. It is not politically welcome, because you're going to lose some of your sovereignty. You're no longer in control of your dollar. We would never set. I guess you will still have a central bank, but it's no purpose really, because they can dictate what happens with the US dollar. And then, other than just affecting your sovereignty, it brings into question: are you an independent republic if you just adopt the US standard, or just use US dollars and abandon your own currency? And then beyond that, you can print money. You know what I mean? Now, if you have a little deficit every now and again, the government could just print money and infuse money. So it affects your monetary policy. It's tough to do. But I saw Karen Rose make a video, right? And he was talking about, I see people, it has some people who don't like him. It has some political people who defending the party in power and find he's there, and he's taking on the country and he's encouraging people to evade tax. I don't know if that's what he's doing. I think he's providing a solution that I talk about here. I think you're right. One of the things we have to do at an individual level is find ways to earn more US. If we want to maintain the standard that we have, find ways to earn more US. Get jobs abroad. get your money in US, try not to convert it. Pay your taxes and do all illegal things, right? But find ways to hold on to US dollars that you earn. And that way, when you need to spend money abroad, you have money to spend already. You don't have to do any conversion. And then you'll be unaffected by or less affected by a floating exchange rate. Or you might even earn so much US that you become one of the people who benefit greatly from converting US at $20 rather than having to convert it at $6. Right? But one of the things that I find we're not talking about enough, and where I feel like the current party in power, should really start focusing on more, is to try to talk to people about that taste they have for foreign goods and services. Because they have some things you're not going to have a choice to get from abroad. But the truth is also that, hey, they have plenty of things we could get down here. Our partner who's always, he have a tendency, we playing football, his boots burst. His first thing is, good, I carry this by the, what the hell is called them? Seamstress, tailor? What the hell is called the man who's fixing boots? The leather people. He say, boy, I carry our man did stitch boots. I have a bad habit. When I see my boots and as it get a mark on it, I say, boy, I buy a boots, but and I go on Amazon and buy a boots, right? In US dollars, of course. So one of the things we have to look at is the things that we have to buy from abroad. We don't have a choice, right? We don't make football boots here. I want to make football boots and the drag and them thing. I must check that, but we don't make it here. So if you're bringing it in, we have to find ways to have to buy those things less. To keep your car for longer, keep your boots for longer, carry the boots by the seamstress, let him stitch it back up nice and put a good hem on your boots. You know what I mean? Some man boots want hem in. So if we could do that, that is good. And then we could also look at what we consume. Because your grocery bill is one of them bills that I don't like it. I be like, we gotta spend so much money in the grocery every month. We'll be eating so much, and when we go out to a restaurant, we want to go to the fanciest. We want to go Buzo or TGI Fridays and Mina House or nice Texas to Brazil and people, but why we can't just eat curry for Diwali? Just go buy Patrat. We can't just get curry Diwali day and eat more local food. Like if you look at your grocery bill, the clothes, you like designer things that have local designers. You could buy from local. You had to pay them in city. And even that is such a tricky argument to make with people. So let me use Prindellas as an example, right? Good local business, Carrega Mandela, Carrega Mandela and his wife, they have Prindella's fashion and so on, nice place. And the who's who in Trinidad, you're seeing them stepping out in the Prindellas, you know what I mean? But the truth is that even Prindellas, most of the things are imported. So she now had to spend US to buy the goods and bring them in and pay for them in city. But again, it still alleviates some of the money that being spent in US. Because think of it, Prindella will bring in her thing in US and then you're still going to buy your thing in US somewhere else. So at least there's a reduction in the amount of US that is in demand, making it a little less scarce, a little bit. And a big part of it is our food bill. I was talking to friends and family over Thursday. I had a great day, Diwali. And just catching up. Let me tell you something. You talk to Father Gregory for long enough, you're going to enjoy it. He's a man you want to talk to. He's the kind of person you want to be around. Always have something good to add. Same thing with Mommy Stacy, Granny Moy, my partner Edmund and his wife. We had good conversation. And one of the conversations we was having is the idea of local foods, eating things from here. Because my partner Edmund just moved back to Trinidad after some time and, adjusting or readjusting to Trinidad society. One of the things, and you might see it as a child, right? I was telling them, I can't tell you the last time I see Sapadillo or Piwa or Tipitambu. And I want to say that a part of it is because I am a part of the problem, right? Where I have a preference for the foreign things. I go in the grocery, I looking for planters nuts, you know what I mean? I looking for and almost to say that the planters not superior to the St. Anthony's. That one them St. Anthony's are like them bad and nobody else can't find them all the time. Them are the best nuts, but pause. But you can't find it all the time, you know what I mean? So when we're talking about the fruit, when I look in my fridge and I look at fruits now, the banana and them may come from here. All them banana and them imported. They see she bring them plum, not the plum, small plum like what we know, the big plum. The big plum is at a bite. I see she bring home plum mix with apricot. 2 sets of US going out same time. Plum mix with I can't remember the next thing where they say peach and plum mix, a hybrid. 2 sets of US going on with that about 25-1. So and even the Ezekiel bread, all them kind of things, it's like there's so many different options for buying, like looking at your monthly spend. If we all collectively could do this, look at our monthly spend and try to determine what are the items we buying that coming from abroad or that calling for US dollars to be in demand, right? And just scratch them off the list and find substitutes, find replacements for those products. So when you look at whether it's the basmati rice or the thing, just check it. I see a whole thing going on this week about ibis flour have blah, ta, 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 in it, and everybody done ready to promote. The people from flour mill say, hey, we take that out a long time. We have a sustainability drive. That chemical, nothing. We think if you watch the expiry dates on the flour that is since 2018, we change it. I wonder if we really look, because they're saying that about ibis flour, but the amount of imported flour on the shelf in the grocery now, who nobody ain't checking to see if it have ta-ta-ta and that, and making that go viral, and they making me eat this like if somebody forced you to eat it. But again, I hope you get my point. If we shift our appetites, and I feel like I want to make a cop out here, right? For children who born in the 70s, all the mids, if you're born in the mid 70s, all the way to about the early 90s, you might have a little bit of an inferiority complex with local goods and services, right? Because we born in a time where it had a negative list where you couldn't get things. And for Christmas, we used to get apples and grapes and Danish butter cookies and Planters cheese ball. When I see a tin of Planters cheese balls, pause. I used to get so excited. I waiting to eat that and then thing and lick the and I remember that I wanted a nacho thing with a little spice in it, you know what I mean? And you get cheese sticks. When you see them thing come in a barrel, what? You love that. And Danish butter cookie, you're thinking and you're eating a little piece, but because you want it to last the whole year until next year Christmas. When you see them kind of niceness, and those things associated so much with Christmas, where I remember driving with my mother, driving down Charlotte Street like a Christmas time. I had to be a little child, a young, single-digit child, and seeing the stands with apples and grapes and thing, and being so fascinated because at that time we have a little bit of exposure to the foreign TV through at least a little bit of CNN showing every now and again. And I remember being fascinated. We went to get apples and grapes and thing, and so, in other words, the foreign goods in them times, salute to A&R, Nathan Napoleon, Raymond Robinson, who I forget in a couple episodes. I don't know how I could forget Robbie. But at that time, it would be rough when they had the idea of the negative list and some goods can come in and all them kind of things, and Robbie making structural adjustments to the economy to make sure that we could be here today talking about this at all. But that was a fascinating thing for me to see the apples and grapes on display in town and people coming to buy them. So it become a kind of psychological thing for me where it's a reward. You know, just to have apples and grapes in the house, I feel like I'm successful. I feel like I'm doing well when I have Danish butter cookies, right? But again, that mentality had to change. For us to rally out these 2-3 years. And more so, for us to prepare our palates for what is to come if that 2027, 2028 don't look like what we expect it or we hope it to look like. We could prepare and adjust our tastes and preferences now. You know what I mean? When I look around me, everything I have around me come from Amazon. Everything I have around me call for US to be able to buy it. And the truth is that some of the things I wouldn't be able to buy here at all, but most of the things I could have get it made here. I could have get it done here. The old version was good enough where I could have keep it and not have to buy a new one. So a big part of the issue is our taste and preferences. And I have a tune to play about taste and preferences. No, that take a long time to explain. I hope somebody's still listening. Usually I back out of topics like these. I hope somebody's still listening. Please, I hope somebody's still listening. But I had debts to pay. And there's nobody better than Tio Loco, Uncle Crazy, to give you the solution to our problem with US, because we ain't switching to US. That switching to the US standard ain't gonna work. None of them fellas ain't going and float the dollar just so. So it's up to us. It's up to us as a society. As Karen Rose say, we had to find ways to earn some US and thing, yes, but that and all is difficult. How you go just come up with a skill, and he say come up with more digital skills. That is true. But that and all is take time. But you know what we could do immediately?
George, I have to do like you, boy. I only eat local fruits. I gone local. Yeah. We say we are true Trinidad, but do we know our history? For Christmas we get caught up buying foreign fruits non-stop. I myself was just so blank in fruits, Trinidad. It's back to roots. We straight too much, yes. No more grapes, apples and pears. Tonka bean and tangerine, 5 finger and balata, mango veg and pumpkin, camu, padu and cashew. I'm going back to my roots. I only eat local fruits. When I was young growing up, I used to eat fruits non-stop. When people see me coming, the fruit trees they start watching. I belt fruits in sentence, in me bust up short pants. I felt in big tank and the quarry. Those days hot fruits in lavati. Sour tambra, deza, gru bet, and chene, kainito, mabolo, green berries, aki and series. I'm going back to my roots. I only eat local fruits. The fruits grown in Trinidad is natural fruits we all know. We own fruits we ignore it, and foreign ones we buying. Peaches and strawberries, apricots and kiwis, figs, persimmons and raspberries. There are some that don't have seeds. Sapodilla, banana, sugar apple, mami apple, kachima, and piwa. Just look at me, no more big belly. I'm sticking to my roots. I only eat local fruits. Jackfruit, penny peas, cocoa, pineapple, bariba, and bahara, plum, watermelon, guava, kachima.
We ain't square yet, but I started to pay off my debt, right? People say I ain't playing no calypso and so on. No, I ain't playing no kind of Christmas music in October. You see, 100 give people bad habits, you know. This episode is about keeping things local, spending your money domestically and stuff. But if we could cut down that import bill, we onto something.
Man psycho. No. Hey, play more local for the carnival and play more local after carnival. Hey, no. Ay. Bring back shadow, bring back sparrow. Play more Kitchener, play more arrow. Bring back shadow, bring back sparrow. You better play more Kitchener and play more arrow. Cause they don't know what they're singing. Say they don't know what they're doing. So they don't know what they're singing. The youths them don't know what they're doing. It's Uncle Demon, Nephew Demon, Cartel and Popcorn. What really going on? Wake up in the morning, turn on my radio, jam up chip pum pum. They want to ram up chip pum pum. Wake up in the morning, turn on my radio. Me not know about you, but me know about he. Gaza we run more back shadow, bring back sparrow. Play more Kitchener, play more arrow. Bring back shadow, bring back sparrow. You better play more Kitchener and play more arrow. From Point to Tobago, when the youths them listening, I don't know. From John to Manzan, like the youths them worshiping Satan. It's Uncle Demon, Nephew Demon, Cartel and Popcorn. What really going on? Wake up in the morning, turn on my radio, ram up chipompo. They want to jam up chipompo. Wake up in the morning, turn on my radio. Deep on your toe for the love, yana gal. Deep on your toe for the love, yana gal. Wake up in the morning, turn on my radio. Hey, oh no, if you whining on the road, yes. Chill. How are you whining on it? Wine. What? Wine. Crutch. My crutch. What? Bring back shadow, bring back sparrow. Play more Kitchener, play more arrow. Bring back shadow, bring back sparrow. You better play more Kitchener and play more arrow. The youth them listening to conscience, but they don't have no conscience. Enough of them listening to cartel. What they want to be now you can't tell. Cause it's Uncle Demon, Nephew Demon, Cartel and Popcorn. What really going on? Bring back shadow, bring back shadow. Bring back explainer, Stalin David Rudder. Bring back shadow, bring back sparrow. Bring back explainer, Baron and the Miss Plummer. Wake up in the morning, turn on my radio. Jam up Chicago, the one ram up Chicago. Wake up in the morning, turn on my radio. Jam up Chicago, the one ram up Chicago.
Yes. Voice of the one, Mr. Famous. You cannot beat that. I tell you, Calypso History Month is finished when I say Calypso History Month finished. No man tell me, big Calypso History Month. Hey. I just controlling Calypso History Month. And that's the voice of the great Mr. Famous, right? And if Mr. Famous say play more arrow, we got to play more arrow. The episode done it. The Forex thing take up the whole thing.
Celebration all around. Yeah.
Listen, too much talk about foreign exchange and them kind of thing. I hope it was of some kind of value. I hope it's of some kind of value to somebody. I hope it make a little more sense now. And most importantly, right? Well, most importantly is that there's very little value in politicizing the issue for anybody else except people who want to be in power. Whoever not in power will have the same critique of the person who in power. The US shortage is created by us. It was very, very predictable that we would be here and we end up here. If you want to say that we didn't do enough to diversify the economy, that is true. But it's hard to do. It's easy to do. But one of the biggest issues we really have is that taste, that kind of taste and preference for foreign goods and services. We love it bad. We love it bad, and we tend not to want to address or make adjustments where that is concerned because we almost perceive that as a drop in the standard of living. We feel like buying a sandals in a drag will be a little worse than getting a Gucci sandals, you know what I mean? And we see it as inferior. Maybe it's an inferiority complex. We see ourselves as inferior. But if we address that, there's a major benefit. And also just what Rio was saying in the beginning of the episode, where rather than running to Miami every minute and running up the islands and running here and there, you could go to San Fernando, Palo Seco, Panari, Polo, from Gasper, Yarrow Brothers, and go everywhere. A little more staycations, a little more hanging around Trinidad and Tobago and spending your money in the local economy will carry us a long way. I am the worst proponent, as I feel like this is 2 hours of talking to myself for sure, because I might be the worst at some of these things I'm talking about. So, having said all that, and a mouthful of things, I'll get an episode with only music, and now this week I'll get an episode with only talking, but I will leave it only with this one. I'm wishing everybody a productive week. And you know, it has some foreigners listening to this. Anytime only a US seller wants it. It does some people in England is listening to this. Anytime you have pounds, anytime you have a little sterling or a little euros, I go take it. I just want to be known. There's some people in Canada, anytime only have a what is called Canadian money. Canadian, I will buy it. Only just let me know if only come in for Carnival. Do convert in the bank. Check Corey first, you know what I mean? Think of me. But hey, listen. Take care of them children. Enjoy your week. Stay productive. Stay good, Mr. Famous. I forget how good that Mr. Famous song was. I forget how good how much I enjoyed that Mr. Famous song. But the man did say play more arrows. So I'm leaving you with this. and just roll that boom boom. See you all in next week. Maybe see you all in this week.